Metaverse.
Greetings, I'm Shad.
And greetings, I am Tyranth.
And Tyranth, we're back with the carbon fiber greatsword.
It has been fixed, it is ready to go, and we are ready to finally do the destruction testing.
This is where we push it to not only its limits, past its limits.
Yes.
The initial video was kind of the overall review of the functionality. Is the concept viable? Which is really proof of concept.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was. And actually, the edge reaches the functional range. We were cutting effectively with this.
Yes, it's just the tang and stuff like that. So today, with the fixed handle, hopefully we can finally actually, get to the destruction part of this.
Well, because we do need to see how durable it is in the long form. We obviously found a crucial weak point in the previous video, but that's been somewhat reinforced.
Yeah, you could say that, with like 5 layers of aluminum. Yeah, it's good. It's good now.
So I have a feeling that's not going to be the weak point in this phase of the testing.
I honestly think, just a prediction I'm going to throw out there, I think we're just going to get a break point up somewhere where it's really, really...
Really? Because I actually don't think we will snap it. I think we might dislodge the blades. Inserts.
No, I don't think we're going to snap it. I think it's actually going to break on this axis. And there's a reason why I want to include this, because when I was putting this handle back on, and I spoke to you about this briefly, was when I had to actually remove the crossguard, it just ripped off the carbon fiber. It ripped off all the layers of carbon fiber, just leaving the foam behind. And that was just with epoxy.
And something I got to say, right, with this repair, a lot of people were commenting on the sneak peek they saw of it. It looks friggin' wicked.
It does, doesn't it?
It looks more anime sword than ever now.
Yeah, we left a little bit of a gap here to put on a crossguard, because there wasn't really anywhere to put another crossguard at this point.
Well, you could. What you'd have to do is wrap it around, have a bulge here, and then it comes in and flattens out on the sides.
Now, I'm not too confident in this, just because when I was taking the crossguard off, like I said, it ripped off the carbon fiber. So at this point, maybe we have to leave the crossguard testing to the next version.
Well, the question is, would you need a crossguard on a sword this big? If you're keeping your enemy at bay...
Yeah, at such large reach,
I would still prefer one, but we're not going to really have a crossguard on the Titan sword when we upgrade it to there. We really need to test the durability of this blade.
Let's get to it.
Let's get to it. But before we continue, I need to let you know of the awesome sponsor of this video, Bellwright. What is Bellwright, you are asking? It's actually a really awesome looking single-player co-op open-world medieval survival strategy sim. And seriously, it looks brilliant, where you as the player are charged with picking up the pieces of your past and bringing justice to a broken nation, for the rumblings of insurgents begins to grow louder across the countryside as bells toll for vengeance. Built in Unreal Engine 5, this gorgeous, sprawling open world is where you'll work your way up from a tiny settlement to the acting leader of a full-fledged rebellion. You get to deal with threats in different regions to gain renown and acquire new resources to further the technologies and strengthen your cause. Add recruits as companions to complete quests or assign them to build, craft, or hunt to expand your settlement. Bellwright is out now in early access on Steam. Check the link in the description of this video for more information. It is actually really cool. I love survival strategy games like this. Check it out, you won't be disappointed, and of course, thank you to Bellwright for sponsoring this video. Alright, so we've done some stress testing already, which broke the handle. We've reinforced that, and so that should hold. And so we still need to do some stress testing to see how well the blades will hold on the carbon fiber build, if they will get dislodged or break out. So we're going to do a couple more, as well as some other tests. We need to test how durable the edge is as well, with edge-on-edge damage against other swords, and even more. Let's get started.
Wait. What happened, Chad?
That is exactly what we wanted to find out in this testing. Now, I've always said that that could be a possibility, which is why I was thinking we would need to do rivets through to hold it on.
Yes, yes.
Now, having said that, the handle was holding up beautifully.
Yes, I expected.
Yeah, the handle was great.
But as you can see, this has just come right out.
Yeah, that's completely dislodged it. So the answer, this gives us the feedback that we needed. That type of abuse is pretty extreme. There was a lot of vibrations hitting the blade, right? And so it's dislodged the blade. That means the answer then in future builds will be either rivets through the center and here, which I'm not necessarily sold on, but I think rivets are going to be part of it, because the other thing is, and this is going to be difficult because I don't know how we can source the components for that, and that is the blade fitting on the outside instead of being sandwiched in, and it'll have to be like a V. Yep. Where could we get spring steel like that? It has to be custom. It would have to be custom made. Yeah. This is why your support is so important, because that means we're reaching a point that if we want to continue prototyping a functional carbon fiber sword to make it as usable as possible, we simply need more investment. We need more money to invest into this project. And so if you want to support us on channel memberships, Patreon, subscribe, star a player, that is literally the only way we'll be able to continue this type of project. We're only able to continue making content because of our supporters, and we've been able to invest to a level, but that's actually, ordering very custom machine components like this is going to cost. Yeah, and you also get the exclusive content when you become a supporter as well. Yeah. All right, that is interesting. That's kind of answered that part. Okay, so the next issue that I have is there's more testing we have to do here. One of them is edge on edge, like you said, and I also would really like to test thrusting. The problem is, what order do we actually do them in? Because both of them can be... potentially break the sword. Yes. Look, let's go edge on edge. Okay. We'll flip it to the other side, which still has the blades inserted. Yeah. And this is important to see because we now know the blades can be dislodged going outways, but I also want to see how firm the hold is going inwards, as well as how strong these 1 mil thick blades are. Because now we have that, taken out, they can see how thick these blade inserts are. And the question is this thickness adequate? Okay, it's got good spring, but they're 1 mil thick. Is that adequate to achieve a functional level sword? I don't think it is, but we're going to find out right now. Now, something else I do want to mention is we're going to be striking in to the carbon fiber blade simply for safety reasons, because as we just saw, this one came out, which is a sharpened piece of steel. Yes. And if we're striking with the carbon fiber down, there's a very high chance that we will snap it in half if it fails. So we'll be having the sword cutting, and this will be braced sitting here. Yeah. All right, let's get started. So now we're going to do an edge-on-edge test, and we've got the perfect candidate sword to sacrifice, because we've already sacrificed it, as you've seen. This was the Tyranth katana that we broke in our destruction testing to see how tough it is. You can check out our video. It's really, really cool, because you see it broken here. You should see what we put not only this sword through, other swords through as well. So, couple of points. The spring steel that we use here is a type of harder steel. To be spring steel, it has to be high carbon, but it hasn't been heat treated to the level that standard sword blades you want to reach, okay? It was just the most affordable, available option to get hard enough steel for the purposes of testing. So that it will be interesting to see how much damage it will be able to resist or take, depending. But I do expect it to be much weaker than the hardened edge of this broken katana. That is almost equivalent damage on both. Yes. Have a close look. Yes, I can see. But remember, this isn't a full sword. This Tyranth katana technically has one of the weaker blades because it's made in a more traditional method. And I am surprised that this actually was about equivalently strong with the edge as this traditionally made katana. But let's now ramp it up. You want to ramp it up? Yeah. All right, what do you want to do? I need a pause. This surprised me. I thought this would get way more damage and this would not nearly as cop it. Okay. I'll save my surprise for the next sword though. Okay, because now we are, this is the Romance of Men that we have also destruction tested in the same video. Check it out. It held up much better. It did. And it has a stronger edge. Yes, well, it's not broken. So yes. I think that tells the story. Yes. Let's see what happens. Go for it. Do you want to go for this one? Do you want me to? Yeah. Okay. Now we're up to the Romance of Men katana. Okay, I think that actually might be a credit to this sword. Because do you reckon you'll break through with the Tyranth Taitsuki?
Do you want me to try?
That's dangerous because the Taitsuki has a high chance of breaking, but...
Yes. I'm going to say this because I've been waiting so many months to say this, but it's time. I told you so, Shad.
Okay, I was wondering if 1 mil thick would be adequate. Tyranth has from the get-go saying it's not going to be thick enough.
It's not.
What about with proper heat treating?
No.
Because it is softer.
It's not. It's not. The edge, because remember, it's not just hitting a 1 mil thick bit. The edge itself is a fine point, which is not much. And then, of course, what's reinforcing that 1 mil? Carbon fiber, like a composite material.
Well,
it's not the same as a sword.
A couple of interesting things, okay? You have delaminated the blade.
Yeah.
We'll need to get some B-roll of this.
But that's fascinating. Like, you're seeing what I'm seeing, right?
Yeah.
How it's just split apart, meaning that resin was not properly holding in the blades.
So if we did have a V blade that inserted over that we can then control the thickness a bit better, it would just perform way better.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
This is confirming the redesign that we would need to go with.
Let's take this blade out just for safety purposes.
No, you didn't get through the... Oh! Oh! Wow! Oh! Tyranth!
Yeah?
Tyranth!
Yeah?
You might need to retract your...
No, I don't.
You didn't get through the blade!
That's over halfway through.
No, it's not over halfway. That is a quarter at most.
How many times I teach you this lesson, old man?
This is really important, right?
Get the honshu and I'll cut it in half.
Okay. Granted, we haven't pushed it to the limits. We will push it even further. But so far, this actually means this thickness, 1 mil thick, might be thick enough to stop. Hang on, if it stopped that, what the failure here was the delamination. This actually what happened, it got pushed further down.
Yeah.
Okay, and you cut into it.
Yeah.
But that's because you weren't getting through the steel. The steel was holding.
Yes, that also wasn't a very hard hit. I'm interested. This is actually, here, try and pull on this. That's actually pretty solid, right?
It's really solidly.
Yeah. That's the interesting part.
I mean, if everything was holding as tough as this could actually
I'm not sure
be viable.
why it's
so solid here, but loose here. That is weird. Well, we're going to get you to hit here, which might break it.
Yep.
But okay, a couple of things. Even if you did get through the steel, which you didn't.
Okay, no, keep going.
Okay.
Keep going, Shad.
I need a pause. If you don't get through with the honshu.
Well, okay. Now that you're challenging me to do it, I will hit hard.
But if you don't, do you have to retract the I told you so?
Sure.
We'll see.
Sure.
We will see. Even if you got through, right? We need to point out this is not your standard abuse that a sword would get even in combat.
Yes,
because
when this is braced.
Exactly, this is braced.
It does have a little bit more give.
All the force is hitting the blade. When you're holding a sword, it gets knocked aside.
Yes.
I doubt, with the resistance this has already shown, you could chop through the blades in standard sword combat.
Okay, but keep in mind the reason why this is happening is because they're failing behind them. Remember how there's nothing to hold the blades in? So they're basically getting squished in, which makes them useless.
It depends, because I'm not sure that would get squished in regular combat.
I think that would, because remember you were hitting the wood and the whole blade came out.
Yeah. So that type of use, it might dislodge it. But what I'm trying to gauge here is how thick a steel we need in the blade for it to reach the functional range without us needing to over-engineer it and go even thicker.
Right.
I'm thinking this is confirming, so far, depending if you can get through, but even if you get through, right, I think this is confirming you will not get through a 1 mil thick bit of steel like this in standard sword combat, because that's the stress range that we are actually trying to build this to.
But keep in mind, the only reason why this one didn't go all the way through is because the blade itself failed and got dislodged. That's not a good thing. No, we don't want the blades to get dislodged.
But still, I didn't get through. I'll dislodge it on my cut. And my cut, I think, falls within... I don't think you can reach that level of damage in standard sword combat because of the bracing.
I will disagree with you here.
Yeah?
You can hit pretty hard, especially when someone is hitting you back.
Possibly. Like that would have to be both components hitting pretty near full force into the blades themselves.
I wouldn't say full force. Adrenaline's a hell of a thing, and you know, fighting with a live blade, there's a lot of caveats here.
We're going to ramp it up even and get one more, okay?
All right.
Because out of the swords that we tested in the destruction video, right? There was one sword, like look at the damage. This still held up pretty well, but look at the damage that it received on the edge.
From a different video.
From a different video.
You didn't caveat that.
Yeah,
this was from a completely different video where we were trying to break this, not the carbon fiber just then.
We also tested this sword. The pommel broke off, granted, but we smashed this edge into this steel pipe, and shockingly, there's only mild rolling on the edge.
Now this sword is still safe to use because of how they construct.
It's actually screwed on, so we can still use it. It's loose, but it'll hold together, right? The blade on this is insanely tough.
The edge specifically.
The edge specifically. This is one of the strongest edges we have reviewed, bar the S5 Katana.
Which was a special.
Which was a special steel. So we are stacking the deck.
Yeah.
Completely against this, in favor of this. It is braced. We are now using the toughest blade possible. And Tyranth, he has an axe to grind. He needs to prove me wrong. So he's not going to hold back. He's going to go full force right here.
Right in here. So with the Honshu 1060 high carbon steel blade, long sword or broadsword they call it, one of them, I'm going to strike right there. This United Cutlery broadsword is the blade is amazing. I love the blade. But by God, it hurts your hand. This tactical grip.
I vindicated because I've always said, you said the tactical grips are fine.
It's fine when you have the pommel on, but when you don't have the pommel on, it's torture.
Hey, did you bend the sword then?
Yeah, I did.
Or, yeah, you put a set. You put a set in it. The feeling you weren't holding back then.
Well, it hurt my hand. But do you want to see?
Of course I want to see.
Because this is kind of what I said before. Don't look.
Oh, really?
You ready?
Yeah.
The blade has completely delaminated in half at the core.
We got that. Yeah, that is a complete delamination. The question that you didn't cut through the steel!
Because I destroyed the entire carbon fiber.
No! Hang on. How deep did you get?
The entire thing failed before I could cut through the steel.
I think it failed because you wouldn't be able to cut through the steel.
Actually, no, I think you got through, Shad.
Oh, let's look. Ha!
No.
You need to retract your told you so.
No. Shad.
All right. Let's just hook up the steel and you try and cut nothing but the steel.
Yeah, that's what we'll have to do.
We need to find out.
I couldn't cut the steel because the entire thing just exploded.
Do you think that would happen with a V cap?
It shouldn't.
I don't think it would.
It shouldn't, yeah.
Yeah.
But, see, this is the issue, right?
I think
it's this core,
but
right?
It's the Soric core that's causing most of the delamination.
Yeah. But props to James for the one, he wanted the Kevlar in it.
Yep.
The Kevlar has caught all of the carbon fiber, all of the brakes.
Yeah.
It's still technically in one piece for the most part. All right, I'm going to cut through this steel.
If he can. This is the most unfavorable setup for this being able to withstand a strike.
Yes.
There is no reinforcing. It is braced, we'll find out.
I don't want to use this sword again. This one hurts. I don't like it.
All right, Romance Amendment.
Yeah, let's give it a go. Ow!
How's your hands?
Oh man, that's no fun. But it's straight through, yeah.
As I predicted.
As you predicted, get out of here.
You just saw me predict it.
Ain't that? Because it has no pommel, it has nowhere for that vibration to go, so that goes right into your hand. Oh, don't like that.
I'm glad you were doing it.
But yeah, like it cut through. Obviously, this is as you said, this is an unfair test.
Yeah. The question is it? Do you reckon it's adequate enough for standard sword combat?
For standard sword combat, it depends. Is the blade going to get dislodged? If the blade is properly braced, I don't think it's enough.
Okay. V. if we did 1 mil on either side, right, that means it's actually that's essentially doubling the thickness, even though they separate, okay? And then because the angle, it'll still have like 4 mil, 3 to 4 mil depth before it hits the separation. That would have to be enough. We're doubling the thickness essentially.
The thing is, I don't know how we would fabricate what you're asking.
Yeah, we're talking about a custom spring steel component. I would need to perhaps go to Alibaba or somewhere, an actual manufacturer, and saying we need this component. The problem is they don't do small orders. Yeah. They would say, all right, we'll do it. How many 1,000 units do you need?
Yeah. So,
and then if it doesn't work...
this is the thing, do I think that riveting them would be better? Yes, I think it would be much better. Do I think it would fix the problem entirely? Probably not, but I do think it would be a significant improvement where maybe in a combat scenario, it would be perfectly reasonable.
Yeah. I would say it would be so damn hard to chop through this bit of steel when it's loose, held in someone's hands.
Yeah. Like we had with the original knife, prototype knife, the carbon fiber is the weak point here, not the steel itself.
Yeah.
In terms of this particular version, we said this right in the middle of the at the start of the review when I told you, like, we've been seeing some delamination, there's some little things here.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to fail. I honestly didn't expect it to fail to this point in terms of delamination, but I mean, I guess James is going to have to brainstorm some stuff.
This is why you make prototypes. People might think it's a failure. It's actually not a failure. We have learned so much from this prototype as to, all right, what do we need to do to make it stronger? Yeah. What things to avoid? And I think we're learning we might need to avoid the Sorek core.
Yes, I'm thinking that too. Something else that I've been pondering, perhaps, is what about this attachment method for a handle? Because the thing that failed first was the handle. And now that I thought about it, because it's something I don't think we mentioned in that review, it failed from this plane. So it wasn't even like it failed like this. It failed just from a direct strike. Yeah. The carbon fiber snapped, the Kevlar, it just all snapped.
So just make the blade without a tang.
Make the blade and then put a large tang handle, this sort of construction.
But there will be no carbon fiber tang, is what you're saying.
Yeah, no carbon fiber tang, no Kevlar, Sorek core, none of that. Just something like an aluminum handle. And this is originally what we were going to do for the Titan sword anyway.
It is actually, yeah, you're right.
And then have the aluminum running up like this.
Well, because we did some serious abuse then. That handle is handled fine. It's the strongest part of the blade now.
Yeah.
Well, it's not on the blade. Strongest part of the sword. Strongest part of the sword.
I know it's broken, but do you want to thrust with it? There's still blades up here, you know.
I don't think we're going to get much information from that.
Yeah, I agree, but, you know, I wanted to get some thrust in. But that's basically where it's at. Funnily enough, we can still do some testing here if you want.
Probably could.
Did you want to hit?
I don't think we need to. We've got all the information we need. But if we just want to completely destroy it, end it off, we might make that exclusive content.
You know what? Sure, why not?
So if you want to see us complete the destruction, even though there's no more information we need to go on to the next prototype, let's just destroy the thing. It's already broken enough. And if you want to see that full destruction, become a supporter. And remember, it's because of that support, if we can continue, especially ordering custom parts, that's the only way. And then you will get the exclusive content as well. So become a member on channel memberships here on YouTube or on Patreon, Subscribestar or Player. Subscribestar actually gives the biggest return to the creators, and if you're wondering, okay? And thank you to everyone who is. Thank you for you guys who are watching. And you should also check out the full review, especially if you haven't seen the full review, right?
Because we did it just like a normal sword, any other sword.
And actually hold up. The weight and maneuverability of this thing was insane.
Yeah, it wasn't until right at the end where we had a bit of an issue, which...
It cut and was a functional sword.
Yeah.
Okay? So check that out. Or check out the destruction of the katana, which you got to see some of the aftermath of that. Links right there. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you all. And see you next time.